Greetings everyone, and welcome to Keeping Up with Papa Life After Work, where we learn how one man manages to keep himself busy, physically active, and mentally engaged after retirement with projects. Today's project, well, my Kubota B2601 tractor, new, has now logged over 100 service hours. How well is it holding up? Let's find out. Check it out. I've since changed my mind. Grapple has been just a game killer. If you watch some of, I very much like the ability to. Welcome back, and yes, believe it or not, my brand new B2601 Kubota tractor is not brand new anymore. It's actually about 5 months old, and I've already logged over 100 service hours on it. Wow, that was really fast. The BX that I had before this, I think it took me close to 16 months to hit that many hours. I've been busy. Anyway, so what's my opinion after 100 hours of service? What are my thoughts? Is the Kubota living up to my expectations? Let's find out. Well, I've given a little thought about how I might go about this episode today. And what I decided to do is kind of run through the tractor feature by feature, highlighting those features which I find most important to me. So let's start off with the bucket. Now, previously, as I mentioned, I had a BX. This is a 54-inch bucket. The BX bucket, I think, was 46. So it's a little bit bigger. And they also offered, by the way, a 60-inch bucket for this tractor, which I did not want. It would have been nice to have in certain circumstances, but for my application, it would not have been. I'm occasionally moving things like mulch or gravel, and I need to get into tight spaces. And that extra 6 inches between 54 and 60 inches would have stopped me from doing many things that I'm allowed to do with this bucket. Plus the extra 25% capacity, it speeds things up. It makes a big difference. So I'm very pleased with the additional bucket size. I very much like the ability to swap out implements on the front. Right now I just have the grapple and the actual bucket. I don't really intend to get anything else at this point, like pallet forks. But this is a very simple process. It works really well. So much better than I had on the BX, which didn't allow me to do that at all. Keep in mind that I'm essentially doing a comparison to the BX that I had before. One thing different about this is you have 3 speeds. You've got a low, medium, and a high. The BX just had low and high. This is faster when you're trying to go from point A to point B. It makes a difference. I've had to make some long runs down the road to someone else's house to do some work, and the BX would take me forever to get there, even in high speed. With this one, it kicks along quite a bit quicker. Workload is mostly medium and low. Occasionally, when I'm moving like a large something in the bucket that's not real heavy, and I'm on flat ground, I can work in high just fine. But it strains quite a bit in high if you're trying to go uphill. It's just not really geared for that kind of an application. But overall, I am very pleased with having low, medium, and high. I think it works out great. Now, when I first bought this, I did not think I would like to drive over a belly mower. I've since changed my mind. I've gotten used to it. It is a little faster and a little bit easier than the old style that I had on the BX. However, when it's time to put this back on, it works best on concrete because you can roll it forward and back, get it lined up perfectly with the attachments on the bottom of the tractor. Here out in the woods and on the dirt like this, you gotta kind of pick it up and shuffle it and move it. It gets kind of heavy and hard to do. That said, I'll be doing something about that, and I'll explain more about that in a few minutes. Well, it's the following morning. I was rained out yesterday afternoon, so we're picking this back up today. Next point of interest is removing the front end loader. Removing the front end loader is a lot easier than it was on the BX. It's really a 3 or 4 step process you can actually do from the seat. There are 2 levers, one here, one over here. There's also a 3rd lever, which is here. This lever drops the legs down. You set it down, pop these other 2 levers, everything kind of comes loose. And you have a lever here that you pop up, pulls this entire assembly off for all the hoses. A lot easier than trying to pull one hose off at a time. Much easier reinstalling it when hoses are under a little bit of pressure. There is another step for me as well, which is the hoses for the grapple. And I typically get out of the seat to do that one. It just seems a little bit easier. Altogether, much faster than the BX. Something unexpected I didn't really think would make a lot of difference, but it does. The steering wheel is adjustable, tilt angle is adjustable. Very simple. It's got three different positions total. Top position, this lever right here, you press this and it can go down this far or it can go all the way down like that. Nice to have, it really is. Great to be driving it with it down, and then you just pop it up real quick to get on and off the seat. Nice feature. This is a primary reason that I changed from the BX to the B. I really wanted a Grapple. Grapple has been just a game changer for me. It's allowed me to do a lot more efficient work around my own property, and I've been hired out numerous times to use the Grapple for applications at other people's property. That's where a lot of those 100 hours came from, was doing Grapple work. This is one of those tools that, well, when you have a tractor, that once you get one, you don't know how you managed without that previously. You know, I'm really kind of surprised at the number of applications I've found for this thing. For example, land clearing, knocking over small trees or digging up small trees. It works great for that. A couple of times we've rented the lift and done tree work on neighboring property and on my own property. And this is great for moving the down trees up to the burn pile. I actually used it to pull grass out of the lake. I also used it to get stuck and buried in the lake one time. I'll put a link to that in the comments below. I've used it to load a burning burn pile with more material. I've used it to move stuff around in the burn pile that needs to be moved from one side to the other so you can burn that. I've used it to rake with some, to pull in debris and rake it into piles. Long story short, this is a very, very useful implement to have. Next implement that's better with the slightly bigger tractor, Stump Grinder. Now the Stump Grinder actually worked really well with the BX. The additional 3 horsepower and unquestionably a little bit more torque that's on the B makes a difference pulling through stumps. I won't say it's really any faster, but I will say that it's done with a lot more authority. You pull right through the stumps. You don't have to hesitate as much to kind of allow the Stump Grinder to catch up. I don't do a tremendous amount of stump grinding. I have hired out occasionally, but it's not something I'm really pursuing as a business. It's just a little side gig that pops up from time to time. And the B versus the BX, it is a big improvement. Tiller. If you watch some of my previous tractor related episodes, you'll note that I have a tiller that I originally bought to do my own beach. We live on a small lake, and to do neighbors' beaches, and then I hire out to do beaches in the area on other lakes as well. When it comes to tilling, there's really not any difference in performance between the B series tractor and the BX. But there are two very important differences that to me are they're game changers. One is that you can set the depth on the tiller and return to that depth regularly. So with the previous tractor, I had to find where I wanted to be each time. And this one, you can actually just set it on 5, 4, or 6, whatever number you want, and it'll drop back to there each time you finish the pass. Pick the tiller up, turn around, and come back and drop it. You're right back to where you were before. Great for setting your tiller depth. Second point, it takes a little more effort to get this tractor stuck in soft sand or in mud than it did the BX. It's just got a lot more tire grip to it, bigger tires, stronger overall, and I've yet to get it stuck under a standard tilling situation. With the BX, I had to keep the front end loader on it because I would get stuck in the sand or in the mud, and I could use that to kind of crowd walk myself out of the situation I'd gotten myself into. So it's really, really nice having the bigger tires. Box blade. That's not a lot you can say about a box blade. The other box blade I had was either 42 or 48. I think it was 42. This is 5 feet. It's a full 60 inches, so it obviously covers more ground a little quicker than the smaller version of it did. But it performs basically the same as the previous box blade. However, the ability to set and hold my depth like I can with the tiller makes a big difference. Also, and you could do this on the BX as well, it's much easier to adjust this so it points down one side or the other side and digs kind of a trench, if you will. Since I bought this, I've done several jobs for people where I've done small ditches that allowed water to flow around the house instead of into the house. And they've been very pleased with the way it worked, and quite frankly, I have as well. One quick tractor related, I really like having this toolbox here. It's worked out extremely well. It's very inexpensive, probably got it off of Amazon, mounted in there quite easily. All my little trinkets for the tractor are kept inside. and they're readily available whenever I need them. Works out great. Okay, those are all positives. Are there any negatives? Well, there are a couple of things that I'll mention. And the first one is the belly mower. Belly mower leaves a strip on the left-hand side between blade A and blade B. And I've messed with that off and on this entire 5 months that I've had it, and I've yet to figure out why it's doing that. It's a 3-bladed mower, and the issue I'm referring to occurs between the left blade and the center blade, but not between the center blade and the right blade. I still don't know why it's doing this. I mean, I've greased everything to make sure they're all turning at the right speed. I've tried adjusting locations, all kinds of stuff. Nothing seems to make any difference. I think what I'm going to do for this next mowing season when it comes around is buy a better set of blades. It's got the blades that came with it from the factory. They look fine. Quite frankly, they're not as good as a good set of Gator mulching blades. And I used the Gator mulching blades on the old BX, and it had some of that problem as well. It seemed to go away when I put the good blades on it. We'll find out if it works this coming mowing season. When I bought this tractor, I added a quick connect, quick disconnect. Initially I was having trouble with it, couldn't make it work right. It was really causing me a lot of headaches. It wasn't any quicker or any faster, I guess, than not using it. And then I paid more attention to how I was doing it and what I was doing, figured out some little quirks behind it, and now it is much quicker than just hooking it up without that quick connect on there. So I'm glad I did it. It was a very good investment. Have I had any issues with it, and has anything broken on it? Well, only one that I recall, and that is this pin right here. See, this is the seating arm for the front end loader. This comes up and latches into here, and there's one on each side. Well, this one on this side bent and eventually broke, so I had to buy new ones of those. And actually the new one's on the other side. This is still the old one right here. And it, in fact, is bent a little bit. So it has a little bit of difficulty with strength on this. I think next time around, because I can tell this one's going to break here again at some point eventually. I did buy 2 of them, and I have a backup. But I think next time around I'm going to buy, grade 8 bolts for automotive applications. They'll be quite a bit stronger than whatever this is made out of. Anything else? Well, the only other minor thing is that there's a switch back here under the seat, and when you take your weight off the seat a little bit while you're driving it, the tractor turns off. Well, I've tinkered around a little bit with kind of overriding that, but I'm not real comfortable with completely overriding it. And for the most part, I have just learned how to operate with it. Maybe not take all my weight off the seat. The problem is that the pedals are so hard to depress that when I push down, it picks me up sometimes. That's what shuts it off. I did make an adjustment on the reverse part of the pedal where I took the pedal and bent it up a little bit, and that gave you better leverage when pressing down on it, so it didn't take quite as much force, or it doesn't take quite as much force to activate the reverse pedal. For me, there is one thing about tractor ownership that bothers me, and that's the fact that I am storing all my implements out on the back 40 in the open. I need to find some way to keep these things covered and protected from the rain and from the rust. And I have a pretty good idea how I'm going to do that. Let me show you. If you've watched many of the back episodes of my channel, you'll recall that I did an episode where I added a lean-to the pole barn. Well, that didn't take long to fill up. It's now become parking for the bus, and the other end of it is parking for the tractor. Ideally, I would like to keep the tractor implements up here under the pole barn as well. And so I have a plan for that. And here it is, lean-to number 2. The boat will be moved out, stored elsewhere. We'll add another 10-foot by 30-foot lean-to on this side, and over here will be all the tractor implements, and hopefully nothing else, but most definitely there will be something else that goes in there eventually. But that's how I intend to solve my problem where my implements are left out in the weather. So I believe that that pretty well covers all the pros and cons. There are a lot of pros, there are really no cons of any consequence at all. So that brings us back to my original question, which was, has the B2601 from Kubota met my expectations? A simple answer, yes. By all means, it has met my expectations, and quite frankly, it's probably exceeded them. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with its performance, and its abilities are probably better than I had anticipated. It meets all my requirements and goes above and beyond. Very happy that I made the purchase. And so, that's it. As usual, questions and comments and of course advice are welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time on Keeping Up with Papa, Life After Work. Papa out.